Hello and what is up everyone, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be on how to counter this hero we're watching right now, Dark Willow. So there's a little bit of a background on this game. It is from a game I played earlier today. I'm the silencer in this game, and this Dark Willow is just some 7k pub player on the USC server. Just get rid of this thing right here. We're gonna be watching this on player perspective. I'm not gonna be commenting on the game. I'm more so just talking to you guys about what I learned about the hero. I can reference a thing here or there, and of course with like the skills. But for the replay, this is just a straight up Dark Willow stomp game. At the end of the game, this guy goes 16-0, and he just is unstoppable. And this video is meant to teach you guys how to stop this from happening, because I actually don't think she's that great of a mid hero. She's kind of susceptible, doesn't farm out the wave very well, which is a thing that I think mids need to be able to do, but she has huge ganking potential, and that's what you need to be afraid of. Because one thing in this patch is, with the mid lane change, of course the dire side, right? You can gank from both sides now, because oops, I just hit my desk. Sorry about that, guys. As you see here, the tower range is way far back. Before, the tower range would like go up to here, so it was actually impossible for you to gank mid from the right side. Well, it's not impossible, but it was very hard because the tower would just spot you out, and usually the mid would just run in like this direction over here, right? But now, with the tower moved back a little bit, I mean, you think, oh, maybe mid is easier to gank, right? But that is actually wrong, because the mid lane is actually quite narrow now. As you see, they kind of closed the ramp a little bit, so there's actually less space for you to maneuver in the mid lane. And against a hero like Dark Willow that places this BS ability, Bramble Maze, right in the middle of the lane, you're just gonna get caught up in the maze, and you're gonna be unable to gank her. And then in addition, she just goes phase shift and can move while phase shifted. And the only way you can counter this is abilities that can target the ground. Things like hook, like AoE stuns like fissure and things like that. She can still be stunned, she can still take damage, but she is untargetable, right? So you can't right click her, you can't cast any targeted abilities like targeted stuns or anything like that, but all AoE abilities will still take effect, their damage and their disable. So that's one thing to keep in mind. At the end of the video, I'll pull up the list of heroes and list out some heroes I think that will be good to deal with her in terms of maybe matching up against her as a core and a support. But notice the skill build here from this player, Godzan. He went for 2 points in the Bramble Maze and 3 in Shadow Realm. This is pretty much the standard build. Sometimes we see other players go 1-3-1 as well, but that's more on a support Dark Willow. I think on a core position, you definitely can just max out the Bramble Maze, because again, it does damage, while the Cursed Crown is just a stun. It's really good for ganking with your team, but in terms of just a 1v1, you'd rather just have the extra damage from the Bramble Maze. You notice here he's last hitting pretty well against the Lone Druid. We'll pull up the last hit chart here so you guys can see how they're doing. He's actually beating him, which is surprising. I think this is not really a thing that a hero should be doing, but I think he's just outplaying this guy at this point in time. And again, I'm not really paying too much attention to the replay, but you guys can of course see what's going on. But notice here, Crystal Maiden tries to gank the Dark Willow. She just drops the Bramble Maze down, gets caught up. I show up for the counter gank, and that's just a free kill. You really want to avoid ganking this hero, especially once she's level 6. I mean, trust me guys, I've made this mistake so many times. I'm like, oh, it's a squishy inter-hero mid, I can charge her, right, as a Spirit Breaker. I lost multiple games because of this, and she just drops a Bramble Maze down. You can't move, you can't get out of it, and then she uses this BS ability here called Bedlam, and look how much damage it's doing there to the Lone Druid. He gets away because he used his Savage Roar, but look it up, look at that, it's up again. She has the Arcane Rune of course, but it's a 20-second cooldown, 14 with an Arcane Rune. It's pretty ridiculous, and it doesn't even cost that much mana, 100 mana for this. And this ability is powerful. What does it do? It does 75 attack damage in a very fast interval. See, 0.25 second attack interval. And notice here, the CK tries to gank Dark Willow again. She just phase shifts out of nowhere, and check out that damage, guys. That's what the hero can do, and that's what you want to avoid. Again, she could also use Bedlam to push out creep waves, so it's not like she doesn't have any wave clear potential, but it's not like she's going to get out of control and like start taking your towers or anything like that. And that's what you're worried about in this patch. If you lose your towers, you're going to lose your control of the map. It's pretty similar to the last patch. And Roshan is really important right now, so you don't want that to happen. But this hero doesn't have the greatest tower taking potential, right? Her right clicks or whatever. I thought for a second Bedlam actually worked on the towers, and I was like, this hero is absolutely broken, but it doesn't work on towers. It was just a Dark Pillow at level 25 attacking real fast and using Bedlam at the same time on the creep wave, and it looked like it was hitting towers. But the thing is, you just kind of want to avoid her unless you have the heroes to gank her, and you have to know what you need to gank her. You need some type of, again, AoE stun ability to lock her down. Real good heroes are heroes like Pudge that can just hook her while she is in the Shadow Realm, and it'll actually hook her, right? It'll bring her to you, and it'll do the damage as well. So if she's really low, you can use the hook to finish her off. Or if she's trying to get away, you can hook her back so that your team can catch her when she comes out of the Shadow Realm. But what you don't want to do is what these guys are doing right now, coming in one at a time with no real ability to stun her, right? Crystal Maiden sure has an AoE slow, but she doesn't care too much about that, as I'm pretty sure it's on level 1 at most. Yeah, it's only level 3 Crystal Maiden, and these supports do absolutely nothing to her, right? Bane, all of his abilities are targeted, even Fiend's Grip. She's going to be able to get away from that with her Shadow Realm. And these supports are also slow, and that really hurts when you get caught in that Bramble Maze and can't get away. So you need to know what heroes you need to gank her, first of all, and then you also need to know how to approach the gank. You kind of want to waste her Shadow Realm, so that she is vulnerable, but again, it's once she maxes out, again, this is the build on Dark Willow, so if you're playing against someone who knows what they're doing, they're going to max out the Shadow Realm. And if you look at this, it has a 5-second duration and a 12-second cooldown, so it's about a 50%-ish uptime. There's going to be 7 seconds in between, so you need to kill her during that 7 seconds, or you need to kill her during the Shadow Realm, because again, it's totally possible if you have the right heroes. Again, you could also just be in a scenario where you don't have the right heroes. In that case, you're screwed, and it's similar to this game here. None of their heroes kill her, and that's why at the end of the game, this guy does go 16-0. But if you do have the right heroes to kill her, you need to focus her down, right? If you have that one ability that's gonna land, you need to focus her down. She's kind of like a puck. If you ignore her, she's going to be in there casting spells the whole fight, and she has relatively low cooldowns on all her abilities, especially her ultimate here with this BS Bedlam. And I just noticed this play here. Sick play from this player, by the way. Godzan. Shout out to him. But notice he used the Terrorize there, if you guys saw, and it actually forced the Lone Druid to walk to the left, because that was the closest path back to his base. So he just got completely screwed there. And I'm going to talk about her ultimate as well, because when you're going on her, you need to make sure you can kill her, because again, she can cast abilities while in the Shadow Realm. Being in the Shadow Realm doesn't stop her from casting abilities, unlike a Puck, right? Where Puck just kind of phases out and disappears. I mean, she's still there. She can still cast all her spells. She can cast items as well. And what she can do is, if you don't have the right lockdown for her, she can just go to the Shadow Realm, and you're not killing her with auto attacks, right? So CK is not killing her, right? There's absolutely nothing he can do to kill her. There's absolutely nothing Lone Druid can do to kill her. Only hero that can do anything to her while in the Shadow Realm is CM Ultimate, CM Nuke, her Q, and I guess this dude can stop the ground and use his, why does it say swashbuckle? That's what it's called. So the only hero that can actually reliably kill her, I would say, is either if she gets caught in a CM ultimate, or Pangolier does his stuff, like rolls onto her and things like that. But she would have to be relatively low HP, because it doesn't do that much damage. But back to the Dark Willow. Again, if you don't have the abilities to kill her, like in this game, you need to be darn sure that if you're the CK, you're locking her down, or the Fiend's Grip is locking her down. Unfortunately, in this game, I was Silencer and I stopped that, but let's say you were not playing against a Silencer and you have the ability to combo all your spells, you better be locking her down if you don't have the abilities to kill her during Shadow Realm, because otherwise she'll Shadow Realm, and even if she seems like she's in danger when she comes out of it, she's just gonna toss that ultimate, the Terrorize down, and it's just gonna make you all run back to your base like little kids. I don't know where I was going there, but you're just gonna be running like little scaredy cats, and you're not gonna be able to finish her off. In addition, if she feels like she can chase you, actually, she'll just put the Bramble Maze in front of you, and you're going to all be running through the Bramble Maze, taking all that extra damage and getting rooted as well. Again, the Bramble Maze is similar to like Pit of Malice, except it doesn't constantly root, it just has a bunch of little areas of root. So if you walk into one, it does disappear, but you can walk into another one and get rooted by it as well. As you see this Bane here, he walks in, he gets caught by one of the bushes, and then he walks into another. He could have tried to juke it there. And again, if you do get caught in the Bramble Maze, you have to be aware. If you have the ability to try to walk around the little things, you better walk around it, because it actually does a decent amount of damage, especially if you're veiled, and you don't want to get rooted again. If you get rooted again, you're pretty much dead, because with the damage output coming out from Bedlam, and again, it is magic damage, and everything she does is magic damage, so BKB does counter her fairly well in heroes that have like natural BKB, like Lifestealer and Jug. The problem with those heroes are they won't die to her, but they can't kill her either, except for Juggernaut. Juggernaut is actually not that bad, in my opinion. I think he could be, I would say, a counter to her, but one of the better carries against her, because he does have that spin ability that will not only allow him to, not take any damage, but potentially kill her while she's in the Shadow Realm. She does get locked down by something else, like, I don't know, a fissure. But back to the Bramble Maze and what I was talking about. If it gets put down in the fight, do not walk into it, because the damage output coming out of this hero is insane, even as a support, right? So this is a core Dark Willow right now, but as a support, even with just a Veil, or I've seen some Dark Willows build Kaya and things like that. Let's say Mana Boots Kaya. She's going to be doing a lot of damage, and you want to avoid that by staying away from her in the fight. Because what is this ability called? I'm sorry about this, guys. Again, this is a very new hero. The Bedlam is tons of damage, but it has a relatively small range, right? So ideally you want to keep as far away from her as possible, but that's going to be difficult, because usually what she's going to do is she's going to run in there with the Shadow Realm. You're not going to be able to target her, so if you're like a single target hero, let's say this Bane, there's absolutely nothing you can do. You literally have no answer. The best you can do is try to nightmare yourself, right? And as one thing to note about Shadow Realm as well is that it does a ton of damage. It increases her attack range by 600, and it does a ton of damage if she can stay in it for 3 seconds. It does the maximum damage, which is going to be 360 at the max level. And just notice there, that wasn't even max duration. You see her just chunk down this lone druid's health. Again, they use the Fiend's Grip here, but Global Silence comes out. She's untouchable, and notice how difficult she is to kill. You really, and I need to emphasize this, really need to pick some AoE stuns. Pudge, Earthshaker, Sand King, Lion even is not bad. Lion has multiple stuns as well, so you can even just insta stun her with a Hex or something like that, because the way you counter this hero is just think of her as a Puck, a support version of Puck. And the reason why I say support version of Puck, because I think Puck is just a better core overall, because Puck has way bigger potential and scales better. And this hero is still new, so not a lot of people know how to pick against her or even play against her. So you see here, I mean, Godzan is just abusing this to just get some free MMR, I guess. But if you see a first pick Dark Willow on the enemy team, make sure that you pick some AoE stuns. You know, if you're core, Void. If you're support, just any of the previous heroes I mentioned, because I did just say a bunch of supports before. And again, I'll go through the hero list at the end of the video, and also, yeah, I'll just do that. I was thinking of like making a, what is it called? It's like a hero list or something for you guys to see, but I think that's just too much effort. Because again, you guys are smart, right? You can figure out what heroes have an AoE stun ability and what heroes don't. But I'll just go through a quick list of heroes I think that wouldn't be that bad against Dark Willow. And I'm not saying anything for sure, because again, the patch is still very new, but I've played a lot of games, and I can say I have a good understanding of how to deal with this hero. That's why I'm making this video now. But at this point in the game, this guy's just stomping, right? And it all goes back to what I was saying before. They don't have any single way of disabling her, and once she gets to this point, she gets overfarmed, and of course, any hero with this much farm, it's gonna look like this. But just back to her abilities, I've talked about how to deal with Bramble Maze, and that's what it looks like when you stop, cancel, terrorize. That's actually pretty spooky, pretty scary there. Talk a little bit about Shadow Realm as well and how to counter that. And again, keep in mind it has a 7-second downtime. Alright? So you better burst her when she comes out, because in 7 seconds she's back in the Shadow Realm. And Cursed Crown, this ability is probably her weakest ability, and that's why you see here as a core Dark Willow, he is maxing out last. It can be very annoying. All you need to know about this ability is pretty much if you get it put onto you, you don't want to stand next to a teammate. Because again, it gets put onto your head, and in 4 seconds, it will stun everything around it. So any teammates around you are also going to get stunned, as well as you. And it's really good for ganking and just like chasing, because usually like when you put it onto someone, the enemy is going to be running away, and a lot of times if they don't think about it, oh, I have this ability or I have the crown onto me, they need to split away. But other than that, it's probably her weakest ability. It's really annoying when you're getting chased down and you're just getting stunned. You know that your fate is sealed. In 4 seconds you're stunned and you're most likely dead. But it's not anything that is super annoying. It's her first ability. Her second ability is what makes her strong, in addition to her ultimates. And she has 2 of them, of course, Bedlam and Terrorize. And keep in mind, you can't cast one while casting the other. So when you activate Bedlam, you can't use a Terrorize, but they don't share a cooldown or anything, right? So you can cast one right after the other. You just can't do them. You can't cast them at the same time. So what Bedlam does is you just cast it, and for 4 seconds, her Wisp comes out, and it just does a ton of damage. This is all you need to know. It just does a ton of damage. Think of a Death Ward that does crap tons of damage. So during this duration, you want to stay as far away from her as possible, and you can see the range here on the screen. It's not that big of a range, but it's not that small either. So you want to keep a relatively good distance between you and her. And the way you're going to want to do this is just with, standard items, force staff, things like that. And again, it's magical damage. It looks like an auto attack, but it's all magic damage. So I'm pretty sure Ghost Scepter not going to help you out there, but a Pipe might. I think Pipe is not bad against this hero. It stops all her damage. And of course, if you're a core, BKB is just going to straight up counter her. So, I mean, if you're playing against a core Dark Willow, eventually you get yourself a BKB, and you should be fine. Problem is losing to her before you can get to that point, and what you need to do is just avoid her. She's not gonna threaten destroying your base or anything like that. So if there's just a way over farm Dark Willow, just chill out. She's not going to destroy your towers. If she's grouping up with your team, try to split push. She's not that good at dealing with split push, because sure, she can kill you if you're split pushing, but she's not going to be able to split push the waves back out. So if you can split push and successfully survive, she's going to take a while to push the wave back out. Again, she can push the wave back out, which is why I think she's so strong, because Bedlam is actually a really good ability for pushing waves, and she can do it relatively safely because she's hard to gank if you don't have the right heroes. But the game's pretty much ending here, and that's pretty much everything I have to say. I didn't comment on Terrorize. I talked about it a little bit, but it's, again, this is not one of her stronger abilities. I would say her first ability, Bramble Maze, Shadow Realm, and Bedlam, is what really makes the hero. But Terrorize will be really good for her to get out of dangerous situations, and I talked about it previously. It's pretty much used to either set up the fight in some way where you have a setup, so then, and again, if you get hit by the Terrorize, you're running back to base, which means that you're not going to be able to cast any abilities, you're not going to be able to cast any spells. You're running back to base, and that's all you're going to do. It's mute, and it silences, technically, so you're not going to be able to do anything, you're just running back to base. So if there's another hero, say Void, that's waiting to chrono you, you're completely screwed. So you want to try to dodge this ability. It kind of has a cast animation, and it shows AoE on the ground before as well. So if you can, try to dodge it if there's something like a Void coming for you. But again, sometimes you just can't dodge it because she'll have her Bramble Maze down, you'll get stuck, and you just get hit by the ultimate, and you just gotta eat it. But something else is, again, you saw before, if you noticed, the Lone Druid actually ran to the left when he was running this way over here. It's because you'll take the shortest path to base. Again, it's the same thing as Lone Druid's Fear, but it's a good thing to know at least what direction you're going. So just imagine yourself right-clicking your pool, and that's where the auto pathing is going to take you. Alright, we're going to end the game with some Low Tracy lyrics. But that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to show you the heroes now, because I think that this is a major key to countering her, is having the right heroes to deal with her. And you saw in this game, they have no heroes that can fight her at all. But I believe I played another game here. I think it was this one. Oh, this game right after. Enemy team picks the mid lane Dark Willow as well. And look at our heroes. You're like, alright, we don't have that many AoE stuns or anything like that. But look at what else our heroes do, right? Really good at split pushing waves. It's not like we don't have disables. We got a silence from the Night Stalker, and the silence really screws her, right? It's just think of it like a puck, right? Any heroes that you use to kill puck is gonna be viable to kill Dark Willow as well. So silences, long duration stuns, but the added thing is you can't kill puck easily with like these abilities like Pudge Hook and things like that, but you can with Dark Willow, because when she gets phase shifted, she can still be affected by these AoE stuns or ground cast abilities like skill shots and things like that. And we do have one in this game as well with the Mirana, actually played by Godzan again, so I got him 2 times in a row, and I guess he plays Dark Willow. He knows how to counter Dark Willow. And again, if you can hit arrow, Mirana isn't that bad, because usually Dark Willow thinks she's invincible when she goes into the Shadow Realm, but that's wrong. She can still be arrowed, and if you can hit an arrow while she's in the Shadow Realm, she'll come out stunned, and you can just finish her off. But notice we have Troll Warlord, of course, and Mirana, very good split pushing heroes. So that's the other way to deal with her. If you can just push out the waves real fast, and you have some type of hero that can threaten killing her, she definitely has a hard time pushing the wave back out. Notice that this Dark Willow even went for the Mjolnir just to help push waves a little bit better, as they don't have the best wave clear heroes. They have the Monkey King, but he was having a pretty bad game there. As you see, he's a 5, 10, and 9. So again, I need to show you the heroes. So from the strength category, I mean, you can pick a variety of heroes. I think a lot of these heroes are not going to be bad against her. I think ideally you want to pick strength heroes. What you don't want to pick is Spirit Breaker. I think Spirit Breaker is very bad against Dark Willow, and he's probably the worst of all these strength heroes right now. Because again, the root stops your charge is cancelled, and you can't charge her while she's in the Shadow Realm. If you charge her before she's in the Shadow Realm, she goes into Shadow Realm, it'll still hit, but most likely if she sees it coming, she's going to pop the Bramble Maze down, you're going to get stuck, you're not going to have a fun time, and I just don't suggest picking Spirit Breaker. All these other heroes though, Clockwork isn't bad. Alright, we're going to phase out here. Clockwork isn't bad. You can hook her, cogs her, and again, the Shadow Realm doesn't give her a phase or anything like that, so I'm pretty sure that if you cogs her, she's not going to be able to move out. Let me just read this ability again.
Jax, are you ready for shenanigans?
Yeah, she's just untargetable. It doesn't allow her to phase or anything like that. So she's still going to be able to be trapped in the cogs, and you can kill her from there. Any of these other heroes that have stuns, Axe, things like Centaur as well. Again, I say Centaur because he has pretty good magic resistance, because he has a 10% magic resistance talent. And again, Dark Willow is all magic damage. So any hero that's just super tanky that can tank her, just burst, would be viable. As for carries, you just want good split pushers that can push out waves real fast and maybe even threaten kill potential into her. Again, back to the Mirana, that hero is not bad. And even the Pangolin, I think he's just really bad hero. If he was a better hero, I would say he wouldn't be that bad, because everything he does actually goes through the Shadow Realm, and you can just mess around with her while she's phased out. But I think it's the int category of heroes where you actually need to be careful, because I think she's very strong against int heroes. If you pick too many int heroes, squishy supports, or just squishy heroes in general, that only have like single target abilities, nothing that can go through the Shadow Realm, you're just going to be having a bad time. So things like, Bat Rider, he's not going to be able to ever lasso her. So you either lasso her and burst her, or you're just screwed. So Bat Rider's kind of potential counter if you can get a good blink and initiation to lasso onto her, but if you don't get the lasso out and you don't get your blink off, you're getting stuck in the Bramble Maze, you're not moving anywhere, and suddenly the huge burst comes out from the Bedlam and you're dead. Same thing with like Bane and Crystal Maiden. You saw how useless they were in that game. Things like Dazzle as well, but Disruptor on the other hand is not a bad pickup. And as for int cores, I say most of them are not bad against the Dark Willow. I mean, Queen of Pain is going to have some AoE nukes. Death Prophet has AoE Silence, has the Ghost that do a lot of damage where Dark Willow is afraid to be close to her. Again, you don't want to be close to Dark Willow, but if you have a hero that she doesn't want to be close to, she might not be able to kill you. In addition, like the Spirit Siphon is not going to be cancelled by the Shadow Realm. It's still going to take effect. But as for all these other heroes here, you just want to avoid the heroes with just too many single target abilities, right? So Lich, not very good. Of course, the ultimate will continue to bounce, but you're not going to be able to cast it onto her. If she goes Shadow Realm, you're not going to be able to cast any of your abilities. Same thing with Ogre and things like that. Like Shadow Shaman. Again, Shadow Shaman's maybe a bit different because he has 2 disables. So if you're going to pick a hero that has only single target stuns or abilities for disables, might as well pick heroes that have a lot of them. Like Shadow Shaman, potentially he's not even that bad because he can also split push, right? Things like Lion as well. But what you want to avoid is a hero that only has 1 ability to lock her down, because then you're not going to be able to chain stun her. So like a Witch Doctor, he's going to throw Casket, she's maybe going to get stunned once, and then Shadow Realm, and then what? Or she's going to Shadow Realm while the before you can cast your spell, and you're not gonna be able to do anything. And again, she has a 7-second downtime between her Shadow Realm uses. So if you don't kill her within that 7 seconds, she's back in the Shadow Realm, and you're not killing her. And in addition, you have to keep in mind that she's doing a ton of damage during the Shadow Realm duration if you have nothing to lock her down with the Bedlam. And most likely you're dead before you even, knew what was up. And again, I think that because she is mostly magic damage, Oracle potentially is not even that bad. Because if you get the Fate's Edict off, that's his second ability, you're not going to be able, or she's not going to be able to do any damage, and you could potentially just save someone or save yourself. And that's why Dazzle potentially is not even that bad, because you can grave someone and then heal them back up. Because again, she's kind of burst heavy, and the burst comes out not at a long cooldown, but it's long enough where if you can save someone and kill her in that duration, again, you have that 7-second window between the Shadow Realm cast, that heroes that have save abilities wouldn't be that bad. You look at heroes like Io as well, Undying, Treant, things like that. Maybe you could try it out, but for now, this is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys learned something on how to counter this new hero. She's very annoying, and I'm sure a lot of you are having trouble with her in your pubs, because I know I am. That's why I'm making this video. I'm just sharing what I've learned, and again, I'll make an update to this in the future if there's something else that really stands out to me. But for now, I think this is all you really need to know. This is pretty in-depth. It's a 30-minute video, but that's the hero counters, that's the hero spells, how to counter them, how to play around her, and see you all in the next video. I might make one on the pangolin, I'm not so sure, but stay tuned. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe as well if you want to see more, because again, I'm trying to make a video every single day for this new update, and I'm going to start streaming as well, and I'm probably going to link that in the description. But if I don't, you can check me out at twitch.tv/HashiGod if you're watching at this point, and you're a real bro if you do. So peace out, and see you all in the next one.